I have a lot more to say. I just want to, I have a lot more to say, and I want that to be clear. But what I said in the video that I filmed before I started this stream is that I never wanted to address this. I don't want to talk about this because I have always respected the individuals that have been a part of the mob. I've always had a lot of love for these guys, even when there were tweets from Froste a couple months ago. You know, you shake it off, keep it moving. He's a young kid, whatever. Frosty, Mako, and Classy haven't said anything on social, so I hate the fact that they're even getting brought into this. But if you're going to come to the table with all these facts, I need to make sure that you all understand that we weren't taking advantage of these individuals. Okay, this 95% is not true. All right, so let's go back. I want to talk about some more of these things. And I'm sorry if this is all sort of all over the place. Like I told you, I think the video would have been better. And maybe I'm a little rusty, but at least I know I'm getting the truth out. So we talked a little bit about the money, but now let's talk about the opportunity with the mob, right? So the entire idea, the entire thesis that we bring these guys over to, I forgot to mention, we bumped their salaries up to $3 grand the next year, the second year that we renewed their contract. And I'll talk about that in a minute too. The entire thesis was we bring the mob around other creators. We bring them around 100 Thieves. We give them a platform to be themselves and hopefully grow and have an opportunity to be full-time gaming creators. Because that's what we thought that their goal was. So we sign them. We make the announcement. They get to LA. And this is the tough part because I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, okay? But back in the day, I talked about Optic, I talk about Faze. I've seen this happen so many times since I started on YouTube. A lot of times people will join a team like Faze or they'll join a team like Optic and they'll have the realization that I made it. I made all the videos I needed to make to finally join this team. They've accepted me. I'm a part of it. And then they take their foot off the gas pedal. Okay, it has happened with, more creators that I can even think about right now. I can barely hold a thought in my fucking head. So I'm not making any assumptions of what happened with the mob after we signed them and brought them over. Okay. And I don't want to bring the other individuals that are a part of the mob into this, but the proof is in the pudding, guys. I had thought that we were giving them a big opportunity, okay? From individuals that were averaging just a couple hundred viewers, if not lower some days, having them be a part of a tier 1 organization like 100 Thieves, I thought on top of the fact that we brought them out to LA and we moved 4 best friends into a home together, I thought that this could only be productive. This could only be the perfect situation and scenario for all of these guys. They didn't work. They didn't make videos. They didn't stream. They got here, and we'll never know why it is that it panned out the way that it did. But if you really want to go look at stats, and you really want to look at the work that was done while we're bringing these deals in, while we're paying these salaries, and while we're supporting them as much as we can with the employees that we have, the resources that we've created for ourselves, and the platform that we have built along with our community, that mentality that we had back in the day where you eat what you kill, they weren't uploading. And 6 months into this relationship, a lot of our staff who haven't come from, the world of content and esports and the organizations that I've seen and were a part of back in the day, they were frustrated. They wanted to move away from the mob after the first year, and they were talking about it 6 months before the rest of the term was even done. It was a headache for them to deal with, trying to get them to do things, trying to, they would go to the content house where the mob was living. They'd get there an hour before the shoot, and the place was an absolute mess, and the production team had to clean it up, and they would be there for hours and hours later than they should have been, because there wasn't any accountability. Nobody was uploading. Nobody was making videos. Okay, and that killed me inside. And I told everybody at home. I told everybody at 100 Thieves, I'm like, listen, you guys got to understand, these guys need time to rise to the occasion. They came up, on Twitter. They came up on social media. They're not natively content creators, but I think that they can do it. They definitely have the right sense of humor to do it. We just need to give them time. We need to give them, maybe we, hire somebody to be head of production. Maybe that gives them a good kick in the ass or a good kick in the right direction. But we couldn't give them any more resources after all the time that we had been spending trying to get them to see the light. I uploaded more videos on my main channel in my prime than they did in 2 years on their YouTube channel with 4 people, 4 best friends. And they talk about Froste in one of these tweets. He said, imagine if we had enough money to where we didn't have to stress over where our next meal was coming from. That's absolutely not true. We didn't take any of their stream revenue. We didn't touch it. I have done the math. I have seen what has happened. In the 2 years that the mob was part of 100 Thieves, they made over $500,000 collectively. Not a piece, but if you really get down and start going through the spreadsheet, besides the rent that they were paying in the home they chose to live in, besides the home that they had to pay rent for, they were bringing home like $35,000. They were making like 66 grand a year. And for creators that only have like 100 or 200 viewers and aren't making videos and aren't streaming, I think this is more than generous. This is more than fair. Okay? I wanted to know if I was crazy. I had to make sure that I did this the right way before I talked to you guys. And listen, in June 2019, this is when we announced that the mob was joining 100 Thieves. This is when Froste's average viewers was the highest it's ever been. And this was our entire goal, to give them an opportunity to have more people watching them. Froste claims that the internet wasn't working at the house for the first 4 months that they joined 100 Thieves. We had a compound with 4 streaming pods. I can't figure out what the dates, if that's when COVID started, we had to close the compound. Either way, we told them that the house was their responsibility. I don't know who set up the internet. I don't know what happened with the internet. I don't know if that's true or not. But Froste believes this. But listen to me. If I have this opportunity that they had in front of them, and I'm in front of more people than I've ever had the opportunity to be in front of, I'll be fucking knocking on Spectrum's door or whatever internet provider they're using. I would be out there every single day until they came to this house and they fixed it. Now, I don't know if they thought that this was the responsibility of 100 Thieves, but if I were them, it would have never even got to the point where I'm waiting around 4 months to get it fixed. So, in the 2 years that Froste was a part of 100 Thieves. Now, again, remember, Twitch is the main source of revenue for most creators. And the bigger ones make a lot of money from sponsorships. This is true. Froste, I did the math. In the 2 years, from start to finish, Froste averaged 40 hours a month streaming. He averaged 40 hours a month. That's 1 week of work for one of our employees who's making less money than Froste. And right after he leaves 100 Thieves, he streamed for 377 hours. This is the month, 2 months after he left 100 Thieves. He streamed for 377 hours. And then the next month, he streamed 519 months or hours. I'm sorry. Guys, I don't know what your perception of me is and my responsibility and role at 100 Thieves, but I spend a lot of time at the office. There have been ebbs and flows of my, involvement in the corporate and business development aspect of our business, but I'm fucking there. And I can tell you everything that is happening at this company across apparel, Project X, a new venture that's launching, High Ground, content, marketing, talent. I am very involved. In the 2 years that the mob was a part of 100 Thieves, Froste streamed, let's see. In April 2020, he streamed 129 hours. Then the month prior to that, I streamed 157 hours. I've got a family and a full-time fucking job. I'm not doing this to pat myself on the back. I'm doing this to give you guys a metric to understand what we were dealing with. And I truly hope that you guys know. I don't like to talk about these things. After we departed, shook hands with the mob and said goodbye, I never thought that there would be negative blowback. I didn't think there was anything that needed to be said because I thought we left on good terms. And like I told you at the beginning of this stream, when I put my head on my pillow at night, I know that I have peace of mind because I have tried my best to do the right thing. And at one point, Froste even brought up the fact that the most money that he ever made was during the Uno tournament where we got second place. They won $75,000 from an event that we created in partnership with Cash App, where we invited some of the biggest creators on the internet during the halftime of the Super Bowl to compete in a $500,000 Uno tournament. And Froste says that the most money that they ever made with 100 Thieves was because of this Uno tournament. If you weren't a part of 100 Thieves, Froste, you would have never been a part of the tournament. We had you sitting next to Valkyrie, Courage, Castro. Brother, you average 100 viewers. And I don't even mean this as to be disrespectful. I just think that there needs to be a lens of logic and being rational about your situation. I hate that I have to... Frosty, I know you're a smart kid. I know that you're a very independent thinker. I don't know what I did to you that made you so jaded and so upset and what made you feel like we didn't care or we were predatory with our business dealings or we took advantage of you or we did anything that could be seen in a negative way. But you continue to say all of these things. And I just don't get it. Now, I want to be fair because Classify, we tried to work with him. When everything happened with the mob, I talked to Classy on the side because he had put forth effort. He streamed more than everybody else. He was trying to make videos. And from his perspective, he felt like he was working his ass off. And Avalanche streamed more than Frosty. Mako, I couldn't find his stats. And that's completely aside from what's happening here today. But I truly do believe, and you can form your own opinion off of all these things and believe what you'd like. But I know for a fact, like I said, when I put my head on my pillow at night, I know that we put our best foot forward and we did everything we could to help these 4 individuals who I have a ton of respect for, that I truly did believe in, that I fought battles with internally to keep them around. I truly believe that we did everything we could to provide them a platform to take their gaming careers to the next level. And whether Froste believes it or not, he specifically, I got to stop talking about everybody. He specifically did not take full advantage of the opportunity. You know, even with the housing thing, like I said, you know, could we have moved them to Chicago or New York or Texas where a lot of creators live? Maybe. But we had to have them in LA because they were a young group that had not been full-time creators before, and they needed to take responsibility for the situation. And the best way to amplify their group was to be around the 100 Thieves universe. And they chose to live in a $10,000 home. You know, maybe with some hindsight, they would go back and do it again. Or maybe I would have, you know, been more involved with the negotiation and told them, listen, I think this is a bad idea. I think you guys should get a 2-bedroom house, spend $4,000 a month, pocket the rest, and everybody stream in the living room. You know, I watched Subrosa. He's on the professional TSM Valorant team. And I go to his stream. He's got 3 people behind him streaming and gaming every single day. Maybe it should have been a smaller, cheaper home. But the entire thought process is we thought that we were adding gasoline to the small fire that they had created with the following they had on social media by, you know, giving them an opportunity to put a little bit of money in their pockets, sell a couple sponsorships, show them what life can be like if you work hard and make the opportunity for yourself. But the fact of the matter is, Frosty specifically did not work. In 2 years, he averaged 40 hours on stream. He has not uploaded a video to his individual channel, and the mob has only uploaded 33 videos in 2 years. Now, I hope all this makes sense, and I feel like I'm missing things that I wanted to address as well. So I'm going to look at Twitter and some of the tweets that were made and try to figure all this out. I already talked to you guys about the 95%. Never happened. Uno tournament. Enough money. Here's the other part too. You don't need money to make YouTube content. You know, maybe it's not apples to apples, but, you know, a lot of people come to my chat. They say, man, I can't play golf. The entire sport is gatekeeping. It's really expensive. There's no way to do it. I don't even know why I'm using a golf analogy, but the point is, my dad was a blue collar carpenter. My mom was a secretary at a hospital. You know, we were middle class at best. My dad worked his ass off. So did my mom. If you have $100 in your pocket, you go buy a hand-me-down set of clubs. You go walk on the municipal course like I did. You pay $9. You're playing 9 holes. You get to twilight. They cut it down to $5, and you're playing golf. Golf can be a very expensive sport, but the barrier of entry is much, much lower than what people actually believe and what is actually true. Content creation is the same way. And that's why I wanted to bring up Optic earlier, because like I said, we weren't making money. A lot of you guys know this about me. And again, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but I think it's important. I was going to community college and I was working full-time, minimum wage. I quit all that, which was probably really irresponsible at the time. But then we moved into Optic House. Me, Big Timer, Merc, Scump, and Hector. We weren't making any money unless we made it for ourselves. We were happy to be a part of Optic, and it gave us an opportunity to be bigger than we were. People that joined Faze back in the day, they had Faze in their gamer tag. They made it. And now we're going to go pump videos out, and we're going to go make some real money. So it just really sucks when I know Frosty knows that I've been on both sides of the fence. I've been in his situation before. And this is why it hurts so much when people from the community place blame on 100 Thieves without realizing what is actually happening behind the scenes. And you make assumptions and you feel as if I would ever try to take advantage of a group like the mob. I walked in their shoes. Guys, whether you want to hear it or not, a lot of people have already formed opinion about 100 Thieves, and I know that, and I've made my peace with that. But contrary to some people's belief, I'm not sitting here every fucking day trying to scheme and crawl my way into making more money and trying to fuck people over. I could retire today. I could go move back to where I grew up and live a great life. I could stay in this house. I own it outright. I don't need to claw over individuals and take advantage of young kids to make more money. And if I was going to take advantage over somebody, anybody, it damn sure wouldn't be the fucking mob. And I don't mean that it's to sound like an asshole. And I'm not, my blood pressure is rising and I'm sounding like a dick. But there is nothing for me to gain to take advantage of somebody that's averaging 100 viewers on Twitch. What am I getting out of that? Why would I go out of my way to try to fuck up my own reputation by taking advantage of kids? The internet is just such a polarizing and divisive place where everybody picks a side. You're either with us or against us. You make an assumption and it eats me alive. But I have a great group of friends. I have, a woman that loves me. I've got a family that cares about me. And I know that I can be at peace with all the things that I've done and the things that I've said. And so is it annoying to see all the comments, especially with something like this popping up? Yeah. But you can't beat the internet and you can't beat the hive mind. I've been in gaming for 15 years and it's just wild that, for the last 5 years, I haven't been a part of any drama. I haven't, maybe there's a tweet here or there to fucking Hastro on Envy, or I'm trying to think 100 Thieves has had a lot of success and we have done things faster and in some ways better than most. I don't sit here and pat myself on the back on social media. I don't fucking pound my chest and gloat. So all this stuff with the mob is just taking me to a deeper place where it's just like, if you get involved with drama more times than not on the internet, you come out with more viewers and more attention. I haven't gone that route. I don't do that. Not once. In the last 5 years, not once have I pursued drama in hopes of getting a rise out of somebody and more people watching me and trying to gain the spotlight. I don't do it. So I hope that can reaffirm the things that I'm saying, and you can believe the words coming out of my mouth, that I did not want to do this. I did not want to talk about these things so openly. I did not want to make people feel poorly about themselves because I don't need it in my life. I wouldn't want somebody to do it to me, but I wanted to make sure everybody understood that we negotiated this deal and worked with them for 2 years. And we did our best to make sure that they had all the things that they needed to not only succeed, I should say not only to survive, but to succeed. Because the way that Froste laid this out makes it think that he's living in a third world country in poverty. If you were skipping meals, why didn't you come to us and say, hey, I think I need to move back home. I can't afford this. I can't do it. But again, these guys are young. And that's another reason why I didn't want to talk about it. These guys are young. They don't have the experience that I've been able to have because I'm older. I'm 30 years old. I've been through good. I've been through bad on the internet. And so maybe, it is what it is. How many creators do we have on our roster? We got 15. I got to add up the numbers. and these people are independently wealthy. A lot of them, they make really good money. And maybe this isn't a great example because since they make better money without 100 Thieves, they don't need us as much. But have you ever seen a creator? And I know everybody's thinking Nick Mercs. It's an entirely different situation. And I know one day somebody wants to hear me talk about that. But I respect what Nick Mercs has accomplished. And I know he feels as if I did him wrong. And I don't want to address that. I don't want to open it up. And I know that's the example a lot of you guys are probably thinking when you sit at home. But I'm telling you, we have like 15 creators on our roster who get paid significantly more, exponentially more than the mob because of its business, the audience that they bring to the table. They all have representation and, you know, everybody watching their back. But have you seen anybody else that we've taken advantage of? A lot of you guys wanted us to drop Froste when he was a part of 100 Thieves. Because you said that he said wild shit. That he was crazy. But all of a sudden this morning, I got everybody saying that 100 Thieves is scamming kids out of money and being predatory. But no, we're not looking back at the history books. We would have brought them more partnerships, but the partnerships that we brought them, they didn't deliver on it. We had to have people go over to the house to make sure they got it done. To go make sure that they tweeted it. And then we almost ruined relationships with our partners because the mob wasn't delivering on what they said they were going to deliver on. But we still did this deal for 2 years. We didn't owe them a second year. And then we raised it to $3,000 a month. So I'm talking in circles now. I think I covered everything I wanted to say. At this point, I think I'm just enjoying the fact that I get to say it out loud to other people. And that's not what I'm here to do. All I would ask, whether you care or not, is that moving forward with 100 Thieves, please stop making assumptions. I don't know what we have done to make people assume that we're out for blood or we're... I don't know. I don't need to say all this. I'm just too close to the chest, this one, man. I'm just too close to the chest with 100 Thieves. You know, I left Optic, regretted that for a long time, not because I wasn't making enough money, but because I, you know, spent so much time building something up with, you know, some of my closest friends, you know, some of my best friends. And I let money cloud my judgment. You know, 20-something years old, not making nearly as much money as I thought I could if I went and worked on my own. I felt like Optic was getting in the way of me actually securing my future in gaming. And I left and I moved to LA, and I regretted that for a very, very long time. Because once you get to a point where you're older and you can have hindsight and you can see where your decisions have led you, for a long time before 100 Thieves, I was ashamed of it. And I was disappointed in myself. And 100 Thieves saved me from what I thought was like the biggest mistake of my life. You know, I love Hector like a brother, and Scump and a lot of those guys, Embos. I have a really close relationship still with them to this day. But I always felt like I fucked up by leaving. And what I've gotten to do in the last 5 years with 100 Thieves has been the most rewarding 5 years of my life. We've had countless employees come in and out. We've had teams win. We've had teams lose. We've had creators that we've spent a ton of time with. You know, we've had some really incredible memories and something that I will never forget for the rest of my life. And we're going to keep going and we're going to keep moving forward. And we got LCS playing in the winners finals versus Cloud9. We got the Valorant team in Istanbul playing at the LCQ. We just won a world championship. All the things that I've always wanted to do are coming true, like right in front of me. But what kills me is that we've got 100 employees, and you know, back at the compound, who've got to read online that the team, the organization that they're working for, is taking advantage of young creators. And, you know, that's what they have to think about. And they wonder, and they probably think, like, is this true? And so I would just ask that you stop making assumptions about how we're running this business, because like I said before, I have no reason in my mind and no reason or incentive to ever sit here, plot, twist, and have any ill intention of taking advantage of somebody else. We don't need to do it. We've got a great business. We've got the best employees in gaming. We've got the best creators across the entire landscape, and that's no disrespect to the other teams. You know, this other thing. Are we competitive with other teams every single day? Yes. Do we want to win at everything we do, business included? Yes. But at the end of the day, the only reason that esports will exist 5 years from now is so that we have competition. And there's a lot of teams that are doing a lot of good right now, and I love to see it. So with anything I say, again, I've said this 2 times now, so maybe I'm lacking humility, but I want other teams to succeed. You know, you think it fucking kills me to see Sentinels getting more engagement on an Instagram post of their Valorant team than us? Hell yeah. Does it make me happy that another team is more popular than us in a game? It drives me crazy, but I love it, because that means we're going to have a very bright future for Valorant esports. And I only bring up this one small example because people assume this is going to be around forever. People assume that there's always going to be money to pay to players. People assume that there's always going to be a company behind the tournaments that you guys watch and enjoy. Maybe one day everything will be just individual creators. Every single piece of content you watch will be on Twitch, on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Shorts, whatever the case may be. But I'm going to do everything I can to make sure esports is still around, because it's what I love. It's what made me who I am today. And, you know, watching an event with your team playing in it, on stage in LA with 100-some thousand people watching, I want to make sure that stays here because I love it. And I want kids to have the same opportunity that I did. So, you know, you got to support these other teams. We got to support the industry as a whole. You know, there's just so much negativity around big brands, you know, and that's the fucked up thing. Like I said, I've seen both sides of the fence, but everybody has a problem, you know, on the internet. If you work with creators at all, the big brand is the problem. You're always in the wrong, you know, because you've got tens of millions of dollars of capital and you've got a ton of employees behind you, and that's just one person. I promise you, not everything that these organizations do is malicious or with ill intent or bad. It's really hard to build a business around esports and creators. It is. So that's why I couldn't for the life of me always figure out why people thought it was an insult to call us a hoodie org, because we had another revenue stream, you know, being delivered to our P&L every year. But money doesn't grow on trees. Players need to be played. Players need to be paid. Videos need to be made. This stuff, it just doesn't happen out of thin air. It's really hard work. And yeah, am I trying to make more money? Absolutely. I'd be lying to you if I said, yeah, could I go retire today? If I wanted to, I really could. I can. And I'm not trying to throw that in your face, but do I want to make more money? Yeah. But we're going to do it the right way. And we're going to do it so that esports continues to grow. Tides raise all ships. If another team wins, we win. If another team's doing something innovative and creative and people are paying attention to it, we all win. So I don't know how I got on this topic, but I've just had a lot of pent up frustration gaming can be the best place, but it also can be the worst place, because the problem with social media, everybody has a window into your life, and I present that. I've opened myself up to it, so I can't sit here and complain and act like it's the worst thing ever to deal with in the world, because I've been on the other side where this world doesn't exist for me, and that sucks too. So I take the good with the bad, but there's just so much scrutiny and criticism and negativity around everything that every creator does and everything that happens on the internet, and everybody's got a negative thing to say. Man, is anybody fucking happy on these apps? Like, let's just relax and enjoy our lives and try to do our best. I don't know. I sound like a fucking martyr, or that I'm trying to preach beyond my wisdom, but I don't know. Now, listen, I want you guys to know, I would imagine that Frosty's going to come back with things to say. And I respect the fact that he has these strong opinions. But this is the last time that I'm covering this topic. If you bring it up in the chat moving forward, I'm not going to address it unless it's really good. Because again, I don't have anything to hide. I really don't. With the mob and Frosty, I don't have any guilt on my conscience, and I've said all the things that I need to say, and we've made the right decisions for us, and we've made fair and balanced agreements with them. And our time with the mob is over, and I cherished it, and I really enjoyed it, and I wish them all the best, because I still have a ton of respect for those guys, and they were with me since day one, and they're young, and whether they will ever feel, or Frosty will ever feel as if he were in the wrong in some capacity or another, I don't even care if he feels like he's in the wrong, but just come to terms with the fact that it didn't work out. We got to move forward and beyond, but I'm not going to address it anymore. But when somebody tells you that, they're skipping meals and we're taking advantage of them, when that's just absolutely not true. I wish them all the best. I do. I fucking love those guys, man. And that's why it shit hurt my... I legitimately can't tell you the last time that a tear almost got brought to my eye. And this morning, actually, I wasn't even sad. That's bullshit. My blood pressure was through the roof. I wanted to kill somebody. I couldn't believe. Couldn't believe it. So... we just quickly forget what happened at the beginning of the industry. Nowadays, when you see creators getting paid, be like, oh, that's status quo now. Everybody needs to, make all the money in the world. Thousands, if not tens of thousands of my peers that I came up with in gaming spent years making absolutely no money at all. One of my best friends dropped out of his last semester of college to take a job where he was getting paid $30,000 a year, and that man was working 80 hours a week sometimes. And you know what that did? That hard work got him to the point 10 years later where this man is never going to have to worry about his son's tuition or a thought in his head. He's creating generational wealth for his family. And he's the hardest worker in the room. But nowadays, and I want it to be clear. I tell our employees all the time, I'm like, hey, listen, take time off. We have unlimited PTO. Use it. If you feel like you're run down or you're being worked to the bone and you need a couple days for mental health, or you need to go on a vacation just because, do it. We do a summer break for a week. We do Christmas break for 2 weeks. We do, we tell, like I said, we tell everybody to take PTO, take time off, reset. But what really needs to be realized and understood, we shouldn't shy away from hard work. Every single day I wake up, some days I don't want to do shit. I just want to sit here and stream 8 hours a day, Apex, Valorant. And I did that for a little bit, but 100 Thieves needed my attention. I needed help. I needed to go help. And every day I'm like, you know what? I feel like I've done enough. I'm going to go fuck off. I'm going to go golf every single day for the rest of my life. And, you know, I'm not going to do anything. And then I remember my dad. If my dad were in my shoes today and I had the same thoughts in my head, he would beat the living shit out of me for even thinking about giving up on all the hard work that we've put into this company. That man worked 36 years in the union, manual labor, every single day, up at 4 a.m., 3 kids straight out of high school. That man had a prison sentence. It's a fucking prison sentence. That's the way I view his job. And he did it. And, you know, sometimes I know that, like, the younger generation can look back at the older generation and like, oh, man, this world is so fucked up. Look at the decisions you made. And look what we're dealing with now. And I know the housing prices are through the roof and inflation is killing us and student loans and all this shit is built up and everything's more expensive. When I did the house tour of this place that I'm living in, I said I never even thought about buying a house because, you know, our generation is just usually doesn't have the opportunity. It doesn't seem real. But the one thing that I agree with that my dad showed me and that generation showed me, this generation shouldn't shy away from hard work. Now, you should be creative and you should work and be efficient and you should create opportunities that our parents didn't have when they were younger. The internet is a beautiful place. I see all these people selling these, you know, Ponzi schemes. Oh, I'm going to teach you how to do drop shipping. I'd rather be seeing that shit than people saying, oh, I don't want to work hard. You know, there's so many opportunities to make money and find a side hustle on the internet. And I'm not saying that it's, you know, staring you right in the face, but a lot of people, you know, get a job and they don't want to work, but somebody has to do it or nothing's going to get done. And I'm not working manual labor, so I'm not sitting here telling you that if you're not working hard, busting your ass, that you're doing something wrong. But I just think that the mentality behind our efforts in working every single day, I think we're a little. I want to fucking win. You know, I don't want to lose. And that's why I do what I do. I want to win every day. And that's hard motivation to find. And I don't have that every day. But when I sit back and think about quitting, that's what I think about. I think about my dad. Maybe you don't have somebody like that in your life. Maybe you have other motivating factors that get you going every single day. But I'm just sharing how I feel and why all this really bothered me. Got to work hard for the things you want in life. There's no other way around it. Have to. You ain't going to. 0.001% are going to grow up with a silver spoon shoved down their throat. Everything in life handed to them. You know, my business partner, John, he gave me a valuable lesson. He said, I feel bad sometimes for people that grew up with never having to worry about money. And I know that could be a laughing matter, like, oh yeah, I'd rather have a fucking Lamborghini and not have to worry about working or going to college. But a lot of those people are lost in life and don't have any purpose. And working every single day gives you purpose. And I know some jobs might be more miserable than others, but he explained to me that a lot of the people that he knew that grew up wealthy just didn't have any reason to function every day. And that stuck with me. It really did. As cliche as it sounds, it really did stick with me. So, I'm just ranting now, talking about any thought that comes to my head. So, you know, if you think I sound like a fucking psychopath, I understand. But this is how my brain works. So we can take it off of mode only, maybe go sub only. Oh, I don't have a Twitch button. Oh yeah, that's the thing. I stream more hours almost every single month. And I don't even get paid from streaming. That's one time I'll pat myself on the back. And I'll definitely pat myself on the back when I'm in bed at night talking to my girl, but she's the only one that will listen to it and tolerate my ego. Everybody's got an ego, but you got to use it in the right places. Got to keep it in check.